Namaste. Welcome to this short restorative yoga practice for a good night of sleep. We'll be doing some yin postures today, some restorative yin, and breath practice and a relaxation. You will need some equipment to support your body today. So if you could gather a couple of cushions, some blankets, blocks, belts, bolsters if you have them. Pause the video to gather any equipment you may need. And join me again when you're ready, sitting in a comfortable position. You can sit on a bolster. I'm using a bolster for support, or blocks, or on a chair for our practice of Bhramari, the buzzing bee breath. When you're ready, bring yourself into your comfortable seat and just take a moment here to close the eyes or gaze gently downward. Make a note of how you're feeling in this moment. Bring yourself into this moment. Arrive in your yoga space. And notice your breath. Observe the rate and rhythm of your breath. When you're ready, you can deepen your breath, drawing the belly muscles gently in as you exhale, and then softening the belly to inhale deeply into the sides of the body, the back and chest. And as you exhale, long, slow breath, engaging the belly just to exhale completely. Breathing deeply in with the belly soft. Softening the face, the shoulders, the chest as you exhale, just engaging across the navel. Find that breath in lifts you tall, provides that sense of space in the body, lightness. After a few of these breaths, we'll practice our buzzing bee breath. There is a separate video tutorial I recorded last year on this. If you're not familiar with Bhramari, then simply breathing deeply and gently for this practice. Take the tip of your tongue and put it on the roof of your mouth, keeping the teeth separated. And as you exhale, making a buzzing sound inside your head. Try to keep your face relaxed, your shoulders soft. Keep breathing in this way, tip of the tongue on the roof of the mouth. Notice how long your breath is as you make this sound. We'll do 3 more together. At the end of your next exhalation, relaxing your tongue, softening any effort associated with the breath, allowing your breath to fall into quietness and observe the effect of your practice. When you're ready, you can bring your palms together at the center of your chest, lift your chest, but take your chin towards your chest. Just a little, enough to feel that length down the back of the neck. Smile to yourself, releasing your hands, lifting your head, opening your eyes when you're ready. So we're going to transition now into a supported down dog. So easing yourself into movement, particularly if you've been sat for a while and you're not familiar with that. Taking a blanket, if you've been using one, placing it to one side. I'm going to do this posture over a bolster, but you can equally well do this with a block or several blocks or a cushion. In this posture, we'll rest the forehead or the point where the hairline joins the forehead on the block. And we're looking for a simple contact. We're not really putting weight into the head there. The rest of our down dog will be soft. We're taking the effort out of it, keeping the knees soft, keeping a sense of ease in our posture. So you might need your hands a little bit further forward than you normally have them. Come into your down dog when you're ready. Allow your knees to remain soft. And just that lightest of contact between the forehead, the hairline, and your support. It's helpful here to keep your heels lifted, to keep the knees soft, keeping the tailbone lifted. If you prefer, you can lengthen your legs. And we're going to hold here for 5 deep breaths. Soften your face. Soften as much effort from the body as you can. At the end of your next exhalation, just gently bringing the knees down to the mat, transitioning nice and slowly into hands and knees, and then into a kneeling position if you would like to. Taking a moment, you can support on a block, of course. Just to sit in that more neutral, upright position, allow your blood to settle back to where it normally is, and observe the effect of your practice. From here, we're going to move into a supported child's pose. So taking a bolster, if you've got one, or several cushions or a rolled blanket, placing it between your knees so you can widen your knees as much as you need to. And you can also use a folded blanket or block underneath the knees, underneath the feet, underneath the buttocks, on the feet, to provide a little bit of support there as well. And then bringing yourself into your child's pose. If you need more support underneath your head, placing a block underneath the bolster to lift it towards you. You can turn your head to either side We're going to hold this for about 10 deep breaths, and I'll tell you to change your head to the other side halfway through. Close your eyes. Make sure you're comfortable here, and then soften all of your effort. Find that deep, slow breath. Soften the jaw and the forehead. After your next exhalation, just gently turning your head the opposite way. Making sure you're comfortable. And softening for another 5 deep breaths. At the end of your next exhalation, just preparing to move, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, coming back to your hands and knees or an upright position. Before we move to the next posture, I'd like to show you an alternative to that posture that we've just done. So, placing the bolster to one side, I'm going to work with a folded blanket. Instead of child's pose, for those who find it hard on knees or hips, you can place a nice firm support on the floor. It could be a cushion or two underneath the hips, the front of the pelvis. Sorry, I need to move those cushions out of the way. And then making a pillow out of your hands, lying prone on your front, with the forehead supported on the hands, the hips supported on some kind of firm support, perhaps a couple of blocks. The blanket is softer on the body. And you can rest in that pose instead of child's pose whenever you want to as an alternative. Now we're going to transition into a variation of Supta Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. And for this, you will need a rolled blanket or a bolster. And we want to give a little bit of lift to the bolster here. So allowing the place where your head will rest to be a little bit lifted. Now, some people might prefer a variation of this without the feet together. But if you are going to do this with the feet together, take a belt in a loop, a nice big loop, and just wrap it around you. So it's around your waist and ready to use. Then I'm also going to bring a blanket. So when we're holding this, I can be comfortable and warm. I encourage you to do the same. Bring yourself right up against your rolled blanket or your bolster with something underneath your head, and prepared to put something also underneath your legs. That might be cushions. I will also bring blocks just in case my hips are not very open in that direction. So we're going to start with the feet on the floor with the knees up, but the back right against the bolster, and lay down over the bolster so that you find your head supported at the end of the bolster. If you've got a very long body, you might need to be a little bit further down or build an additional support for your head. If this feels very open in your abdomen and the low back, you might want to keep your knees up. But if you feel comfortable, you can extend your legs. It may take a few breaths to get that comfortable. And you may also prefer to bring the soles of the feet together and rest the knees out to the side. If you've got a belt, that belt can wrap around the feet, around the ankles, and you can draw the belt in to hold your feet in place as you relax. If the knees are away from the floor, you can rest them onto some sort of support. And when you've found your comfortable spot, you can, of course, finish this joyous position, whatever position of the legs you choose, with a blanket for additional coziness. And that's important when you're holding postures for a little while in stillness, to remain cozy. If your elbows don't reach the floor, you can support the arms with blocks underneath them or cushions again. And when you get into the posture of your choice, find your stillness. Relax your efforts, let go. Surrender the weight of the body down. Soften the features of the face. And breathe easy, slow, deep breaths. If you need to release at any point, doing so in a gentle, controlled way. But we will hold here for about 10 deep breaths. At the end of your next exhalation, gently preparing to move. So if your knees are out to the side, you can draw the knees towards each other one at a time. Maybe you can unloop yourself from the belt if you're using one. Totally optional. And then just extending the legs for a moment. In your own time, you can roll to one side and just use the back of your body to shift your bolster or spinal support out of the way so you can roll onto your back again. Just taking a moment, feet on the floor, knees bent, allowing your body to adjust to a more neutral shape. And observing the effect of your practice. When you're ready, rolling to one side again and coming up into sitting. We're going to finish this practice with legs up the wall. And we're going to do this without any support underneath the back of the body. So you can move all of the supports out of the way. But for those who enjoy a weighted version of this, you can use a sandbag or a bolster across the soles of the feet. You might want a blanket as well. So bringing yourself into the wall, you can do this equally well on a chair or a bed or a sofa, where you're either on top of the bed, releasing your legs up the wall, or on the floor, releasing your legs up onto a sofa with the knees bent or onto a bed. Make sure that you haven't got anything underneath the back of your head like I did with my hair. And just resting the heels on the wall. The knees can be as soft as needed, arms relaxed out to the side. You don't have to have your buttocks on the wall, but some people feel that's a little bit better for support, for letting go. The contact allows that sense of grounding and ease in the body. If you wish to try a weighted version of this, do take care because moving bolsters around while you're lying on your back can be more difficult. But with the feet nice and wide, placing the bolster onto the soles of the feet, and that provides an aid to gravity, so the back of the pelvis feels really connected to the ground. If you need a blanket, sometimes a blanket just over your upper body is enough. But you can also wrap one over the legs if needed. And then resting here for as long as you like, really. Could be 10 minutes, maybe only 5 if you only have 5 minutes. If you prefer to count your breaths, simply counting about 20 to 30 long, deep breaths. With the body completely soft, the eyes gently closed. And if you're doing this before bed, transitioning into bed from this posture when you're ready, as quietly and gently as possible. I will leave you to relax in this position. Thank you for joining this practice. Namaste.